Hello, it is Creature, and if you don't know what's going on, I'm doing an entire full review of the Elder Scrolls Online, each area 100%. Last time, got all that? Great. We arrive in Betnikh, an island closer to High Rock that was once inhabited by the Bretons, and was previously called Bettony. However, 200 years ago, massive waves of orc migrants were sent from the mainland and sought refuge among the Bretons, and brought with them some of their beautiful forms of orcish culture, such ideas like slaughter, raids, and, well, it's still early in the video, let's just say that beyond me and a few other people, there ain't many Bretons in Brittany anymore.
Are aliens inherently violent? Interesting.
The orcs displaced the Bretons, and what few survived fled their homeland, lost to the orcs. However, this game takes place in the second era, and according to Elder Scrolls 2 Daggerfall, which takes place in the third era, it's called Bettony again. So here's a white pill to all the Breton bros. And I believe I speak for all my Yakuden brothers out there when I say, get fucked, orcs. Nothing brings two people closer together than beating the shit out of the orcs and the high elves. And it's kind of a Redguard Breton tradition at this point to find any place where the orcs have decided to settle down and then absolutely obliterate it, because let's be honest, imagine being a literal Daedric shit stain upon the world. That's canon for the orcs, by the way.
That concludes Unit 101.
And yes, the fantasy racism is integral to the Elder Scrolls lore. And you best bet that whenever we get to the Isles, I'm gonna be sounding like Pelennor Whitestrake after a few too many Nordales whenever it comes to the fucking knife. Hjalti should have gone a little bit further and finished what Pelennor started. Hjalti is Talos for those of you who have been tricked by the Nords. Anyway, we arrive and are immediately informed that the island is under attack. And then we quickly stumble across a dead body. So the traditional orc greeting. We head out and find Lambor, and also do a few level ups and mine some things. After reaching Stonetooth Keep, she tells us that we are witnessing the aftermath of a initial assault. The orcish king prepares to raise an army to take the cultists head on. However, Lambor believes that this is a trap. So naturally, she asks us to investigate the outlying regions of the island. Moricelli, an ancient Ayleid rune that is host to some particularly unhappy folk. Grimfield, a millennia-old graveyard of the Bretons who are native to the island. And the Carved Hills, mostly wilderness with some ruins. So, after some consideration, we decide to head to... We're informed that in order to see the Bloodthorn cult's plans, we must partake in the orcish specialty, so that we can astral project into the lair of the spirit realm. After seeing the first ghost, I'm not gonna lie, I got a little distracted. Anyway, I followed them and saw the ghost getting some orders. Apparently, during the previous raid, the cultists stole a powerful scroll. However, what it does exactly is unknown. What we do know is that the cult probably shouldn't have it. The ghost is then ordered to head into some old Ayleid ruins where a ritual is being performed. It's then uncovered that the dude is kind of a simp.
Will not fail you, mistress.
And we head to the old Ayleid site. We make a friend along the way and got distracted, and then finally made it to the ruins. The cultists are going to use the scroll in order to send people into the spirit realm, and while it does work, technically, it does not have the desired result. And then a Jakarn jump scare. He tells us that he's here to help, and that he has tracked down the cultist lair. And as we head over there, we're given a glimpse into the future.
What are you doing here? Leave my room at once.
I won't allow Alcair to fall into Redguard hands.
We head inside the lair after Jakarn nicely unlocks it for us, and immediately kill everything inside that has a pulse. We get to the bottom where we find two people? It's a cat girl with some wings and some kind of edgy kid. Anyway, the vision plays as the other guy just turns into an ice block and just disappears. After that, I decided that that was enough holy orc herbs for one day and left the cave. We tell Lagana about the cult's plans, and after a level up, we head back to the fort and re-up and store some stuff for Grok to take apart. Anyway, after that, we head to... Grimfield is the ancient graveyard of the native Bretons of Bettony. However, the orcs, while Mer, are much more honorable, albeit in a savage way, than the so-called higher races of Altmer and Dunmer. They respect their enemies, and they respect their enemies' dead. A sentiment that I can agree with. And in Orc society, strength is the only real power. In an Orcish clan, arguments are not won by the merit of one's claims, but by the strength of the one making the claims. So as we stumble through the island, we come across a band of orcs in the forest, and naturally, they want to fight us. Not to the death, more of a social fight. So we take a bet from their old and wounded captain, beat the crap out of 3 of his men, and while each fight was a duel, I honestly feel like I could have easily taken all 3 of them at once. So 100 gold richer, and with a new axe, we make our way into Grimfield. And because my recording software broke, a situation that seems to be a constant problem, we are joined by Newtson, son of Sven, an all-around Nord man and assistant for recording purposes. We head into the graveyard and are met by a ghost, who is surprised to see that we are not a necromancer, and immediately asks us for our help. She tells us that the Bloodthorn are planning on raising all of the Bretons buried in Grimfield and creating an army of the undead, apparently to attack the Seamount Orcs. First, we take a Staff of Arche, charge it with the magical energies from the cultist summoning circles, and then with that energy, we call out the lesser Daedra that the cultists are summoning and binding to their will. So naturally, we slay hate, wrath, and fear, and after cutting the necromancers off from their main power source, the undead become re-dead, and the necromancers flee to Moricelli. The last king of the Bretons appears to us.
I attempted necromancy. An ancient Ayleid relic is buried on this island. The Bloodthorns seek its power.
And gives us a vision of his demise in order to better understand what the cult may be trying to do. We see through the eyes of Targoth, an orc captain of the Seamount Orcs during their initial invasion, and we see him threaten and extract the secrets of the Breton king from all of his subjects. And in order to figure out what this supposed secret weapon is. As it turns out, it is an ancient Ayleid necromantic nuke that will force all of the spirits from the land of the dead back into the land of the living. Effectively, if used, this would be an Elder Scrolls equivalent of a necroquake. And for those of you who don't know Age of Sigmar, trust me, that's really bad. So here's what we know of the Bloodthorn cult. A. They have a device that will allow transference into the spirit world. B. They are raising the dead en masse. C. They may know the location of an ancient nuke and may wish to use it for their own purposes. And D. The Bloodthorns are a necromancer cult. And if there is anything I know about Elder Scrolls, that is, if there's a necromancer cult anytime before the 4th era, then Minimarco is probably behind it. And allowing a powerful weapon like that to fall into his hands would spell game over for everybody on Nirn. So we need to get that fucking thing back before they do. And naturally, the best place to look in my opinion is... We meet up with Naramo, who is taking the chance to study the Ayleids. Apparently, the spirits wandering around here are not natural, and are being stirred up by something beneath. And these ones are neither Breton nor Ayleid, they're orcs. Moricelli was once an alien structure of some kind or another, but has been repurposed by the orcs as a tomb. And I gotta say, there's a lot of graveyards on Betnikh, but I ain't seen a lot of farmland. I mean, y'all been here for like 200 years, and apparently, y'all ain't built jack shit. I mean, maybe if the orcs decided to put a little bit more into infrastructure and food production, they wouldn't have to worry about Orsinium getting burnt down every 15 minutes.
Unit 102, isn't it weird that? What the fuck?
We agree to head inside and deal with the problem, and we meet Targoth. He tells us that because of some metaphysical, magical, wobbly reason, his warriors, who once heeded the sound of his horn in real life, do so in death. So we do what we do best, kill everybody, and get the random item back. We're given the option to either use the horn to command the spirits against the cult, or to return it to Targoth's tomb and allow the spirits to rest. And ultimately, we decide to let the spirits lie, and return Targoth's horn. And as we head outside, the spirits are gone, and we leave Naramo to his research. As we're leaving, Nicolene appears and tells us that the orcs are on the march to where the bulk of the Bloodthorn cult is hiding, Karzog's demise. We tell her what we've discovered and how this is very obviously a trap. Just like in every other place on this fucking island, we meet a ghost. And the ghost warns us that there is a massive Ayleid weapon that's about to be used, and we tell him, yeah, we know. And since the ghosts don't want to be turned into undead eternal soldiers, we convince a few to help us out, and they open the front gate for us. After getting inside, we meet with Larissa. and she's heard what's going on and offers us some help. She gives us a disguise, and we politely accept it, and then throw it away whenever she's out of view, before bulldozing through all of the cultists. As we get deeper and deeper, we meet with some of the other members of the crew and fight more and more cultist and necromantic abominations. And finally, we head into the inner sanctum. Naramo tells us that without the scroll, no one who has a soul can enter the spirit realm, except us, since we don't have a soul. So we head down and face down Verdan, the leader of the Bloodthorn cult, and after he's dealt with relatively quickly, we approach the relic. After getting back to the other side with the relic, we're given a choice. Keep the weapon for the good of the Covenant or banish it forever. Colleen, loyal to the Covenant, says that we should use the relic for the war, and how this could turn the tides. Most of the crew does agree with Colleen. However, the orcs and some of the more reasonable members of the crew say that it's probably a good idea to banish it. It is way too powerful to exist. After some deliberation, I decide to banish it. Why? Simple. This is Tamriel. Ancient super weapons are a dime a dozen, and to be honest, these kinds of weapons tend to either get stolen or lost, and a weapon that, if in the hands of a certain necromancer, could summon an army of millions of nigh unkillable undead soldiers, would be a very bad time for everyone. Oh, and who's one of our main adversaries? Minimarco. So no, I don't think I'll let the King of Worms have even the slightest chance of gaining even more of an advantage, because with the entire powers of Cold Harbor backing him, I don't think he needs any more. So I banished it. As we head out of the ruins, Colleen, Larissa, and some of the other ones are not happy.
You've betrayed me and the Covenant with your actions. I can't stand to be in your company anymore. You'll leave here without me.
However, she fails to realize that without banishing the relic, the Seamount Orcs would never join the Covenant, and Lambor agrees with that assessment.
Leave for Betnikh, an orc island that hasn't yet joined the Covenant. I hope to change that. You've betrayed me and the Covenant with your actions. I can't stand to be in your company anymore.
Women.
Anyway, beyond Colleen being an absolute fucking idiot, and I can now see why most of her crew left her in Stros Mackay, we head over and talk to Jakarn and Naramo, who both agree that I did the right move. That's why they're the homies. Anyway, we head back to the keep and get flagged down by an orc princess who doesn't want to get married off some random orc clan on the ass end of the world, who instead wants to adventure. I tell her do whatever she wants because I literally do not care, and she joins us. After telling the orc king that the cult has been dealt with and the relic has been sealed, he's over the moon and agrees to join the Covenant and orders Colleen to take us to Daggerfall, an order that she is not happy with in the slightest. However, we do need to get to Daggerfall to let everybody know that the Seamount Orcs are now firmly on the side of the Covenant because we did that. I'm sorry, I just have to say, if Colleen had gotten her way, the Seamount Orcs would never join the Covenant and there would be a massive super weapon floating around Tamriel during one of its most turmoil-ish times in its history. So again, fuck you, Colleen. You're an idiot. Anyway, we hop on our ship and sail to Daggerfall.
We've arrived. Welcome to Daggerfall.
I'm a god. How can you kill a god? What a grand and intoxicating innocence. I'm a god. How can you kill a god? Shame on you, sweet Marabar. I'm a god. I'm a god. I'm a god. God.